Mark Schlereth, the 15-year ESPN NFL veteran, and the Stinkin' Truth podcast, available at Podcast One and iTunes. New episode every Wednesday and Friday. In-depth look at behind the curtain of what's really going on in today's drama-filled NFL. Did you write that, Mark?
No, I did not.
Okay.
I did not. That's damn, come on. I have writers do my dirty work for me.
You have a staff?
Yeah, it's a staff of me and a producer they assigned to me. That's pretty much the staff I get. It's not like your show where you got all kinds of guys on the show, you know.
I got about
totally
30.
Different.
I got 35 producers here.
Yeah, see, that's it. Hey, by the way, the Broncos, how about their kicker, McManus? I hate to give love to kickers because, you know, I don't consider them football players, but the bottom line is guy made 5 field goals. So that might be the MVP for the Broncos.
I always find it interesting that kickers only hang out with other kickers, and we're very careful about yelling at them when they do something wrong. But you'll yell at another teammate, but you don't.
Yeah.
Like you don't yell at the kicker, right? Maybe the coach does, but teammates don't.
No, pretty much nobody yells at them. I think here's what I think about the kickers. You know, I mean, a lot of people can't stand me because, you know, they think I hate kickers. I love the kickers. I just don't consider them football players. And the bottom line is this. I think a lot of it is because we as players are jealous. Like, I watch those guys during the day. I used to call my kickers, I call them campus leavers. Because while we're stuck in meetings getting yelled at by coaches, they're running off to McDonald's and playing Papa Shot in the locker room. You know, that's what they do. And then during practice, you're just beating the living snot out of one another. And those guys, you know, are playing kicking games. Like, let's see if we can down it inside the 5. Woohoo, this is fun, practice. And, you know, it just drives you crazy. You look over there and you're like, look how much fun they're having. You know, I'm miserable. So I think a lot of it stems from jealousy of their life is a lot better than ours.
If you had to do it all over again, would you have been a kicker?
That'd have been great. I lost out of competition. When I was at the University of Idaho, I actually was the backup punter, and I lost out in a punt-off competition. I became the backup punter for the University of Idaho for a season. And had I just won that, my life would be totally different right now. Totally different.
All right, I'm probably in the minority, and I'm getting roughed up here on Twitter, but I think that the Packers should have gone for 2 right after the Hail Mary was completed because you don't know what happens in overtime. I have the momentum. I just kicked you right in the gut with that play, and I got Rodgers from 2 yards out to win the game. I have the ball in his hands there to win the game. Your response is what, Mark Schlereth?
I thought the same exact thing, and I know it bucks conventional wisdom, but I looked at it from the standpoint of, listen, every one of our receivers is hurt. Nobody can get open. We have been meager at best at running the ball and as far as protecting our quarterback. It's not like I think we're going to Carolina or going to Arizona and winning a game. Going to Carolina and winning the game. We're playing Arizona. You know what? Roll the dice. Win it, and let's go on. I just looked at it from the standpoint of the weakness of that football team, although defensively I thought they played an exceptional game. Yeah. But I know it bucks conventional wisdom, but I sat on my couch after that Hail Mary thinking the same thing. Go for 2, man. Just end it right here. But, you know, that's probably why it's really easy to sit here and criticize. It's really hard to make a decision on game day. Yeah. Very easy to have an opinion. Very hard to make a decision.
Yeah, and I know that people would have killed Mike McCarthy had he done that and they failed. But just given the feeling of the game, and that's the only thing I'm going on, you just had this gift to you. They're a little discombobulated, disoriented. Like, what just happened here? Boom, let's go. Let's go for 2. And they're thinking, what? They're going for 2? Maybe Rodgers makes something happen. But I did say it with the group in the moment, and they looked at me like I was crazy. But I was thinking, I don't know what will happen in overtime. And as soon as they hit Fitzgerald, everybody looks at me and goes, right. Yeah, they should have gone for 2.
You know what's interesting, too, is as well as Carson Palmer had played all season long, he probably had his worst game of the season up to that point. Yeah. And my thought process is eventually he's going to break out. He's played too damn good. And that play to Fitzgerald that went the one that broke long, man, he avoided a sack in the pocket, moved around, found Fitzgerald out on the sideline. It was an incredible play by him, but you got to figure you're not going to hold him back that whole game because he had played poorly up to that point.
He's Mark Schlereth, the Stinking Truth Podcast, the Mothership veteran analyst, a former NFL player. It's on Podcast One and iTunes. Peyton Manning's performance, how would you assess it?
I thought Peyton was really good. I mean, 6 drops by receivers, that stunk. I thought Peyton played pretty well. Now, my one criticism of the offense with Peyton running it is, everything called to the line of scrimmage, which just irritates me. And as a former offensive lineman, I know how bad you want at times just to line up, make it on first down, come off the ball, and try to shorten somebody's neck. And when you sit in your stance for 25 seconds, and you've got to be balanced, and you've got to listen to, man, are we going to run the ball? Are we going to check out? Are we going to run it right? Are we going to run it left? Like everybody in the NFL tips their stance. You know what you're doing. You want to know. But when you call everything from the line of scrimmage and you sit in your stance for 25 seconds, it creates a situation where you lack aggression. It makes you passive offensively. And I hate, I mean, there's always a place for it, but I hate that being what you major in consistently. And so that part, for me, really bothers me. But the bottom line is he threw the ball well, and he just didn't get a lot of plays on the offensive side of the ball. But I thought he was the least of their offensive worries.
The addition of Amendola, I mean, that's such a huge lift for that team. I don't know how healthy he's going to be for this next game, but when they have him and when they don't, I mean, that's night and day difference, his value.
Yeah, Julian Edelman. Absolutely. It was interesting last week on NFL Live. I did this breakdown. When Edelman and Gronk are on the field in combination together, Brady gets rid of the ball almost 0.3 of a second to 0.4 of a second faster. And really what that does for you when you have a struggling offensive line, that's the difference of having a clean pocket and throwing the ball cleanly from snap to throw, or getting a pressure turning into a sack. And what you saw on Saturday is the New England Patriots and Tom Brady getting rid of the ball so quickly that a great defensive front had no chance, zero opportunity to even sniff Brady in that game. And so there's a huge, huge difference when those two are playing. I don't know how healthy Edelman's going to be. There's reports on his foot. Was it X-rayed? I have no idea. But the bottom line, when those two guys are in that game, in the game together offensively, they're almost impossible to get. It's almost impossible to get to Brady, and they're almost impossible to beat.
We've seen this before with the Panthers, where they build up a lead and then they hold on for dear life. Do you look at the Panthers that they could put up 31 on the Seattle Seahawks, or that they had to hold on for a 31-24 win?
I look at the other part of that, the 31 points they put up. You go in the locker room in those games, and it's tough because guys are like, well, at what point are they going to pull me? And you kind of let off the throttle. And it's hard, to keep your foot hammered down on that thing at times. And that's a maturity thing. They have to be better than that. But the bottom line is they were flipping impressive in that first half. The way they run the ball and what they do with Cam Newton in the running game, nobody else in football does those things. And it makes them so exceptionally hard to defend. They're a really, really good football team. Yeah, you know what? When you've got somebody down like that coming out of halftime, that's just human nature to me more than anything else. And once you get out of that rhythm, once you kind of let off the throttle, it's hard to get yourself going again. And that's more what I looked at. They made some plays that they had to make in that second half to win that football game, but that first half was something to see.
Good to visit with you again, Mark. Good luck with the podcast. Thanks for joining us.
Anytime, buddy. Talk to you soon.
All right, Mark Schlereth from the Mothership.